So it is April 1st at 7:27 p.m. and it is Monday. I've decided that I'm going to upload a vlog probably Monday through Thursday out of every week. I tend to have a hard time committing to stuff like this for extended periods of time that last longer than 3 or 4 weeks. So hopefully I can stay committed to this. If not, I don't really think it's that big of a deal because I'm doing it mostly for myself. Anyways, what I want to talk about today is going to revolve around military lifestyle from the spouse's point of view. And this is something that has been like a centric part of my life for the last year or so, and especially in the last few months, we've moved twice. I was originally from Reno, Nevada, and then my husband and I moved to Monterey, and from there we moved to Augusta for Fort Gordon for a retrain. And a lot has happened since then, and I didn't really prepare myself very well for this lifestyle. I just sort of jumped into it feet first, and I guess this is what I've learned so far, and how I want to start directing myself a little bit. So I guess that kind of leads me into the first thing I listed that I want to talk about, which is expecting and living with rapid change. That was the one thing I was prepared for, at least mentally and emotionally, was to come into this lifestyle knowing that anything could happen. I could be anywhere within 24 hours, or my husband could be anywhere within 24 hours, and I would have absolutely no say whatsoever. So it's a lot of personal sacrifice, of course, for the soldier and for the spouse, but in two different ways. I think the soldier is always going to be career oriented, and as the spouse, you have to be career oriented as well. But instead of having it be your focus, it's their focus. So you're you're the support system for that soldier, and where he goes, you land and you build the home, you maintain the home, and even if you don't see him, and you won't for a long period of time, sometimes weeks, months, years. I haven't had to deal with the deployment yet, but I know it's coming up soon, foreshadowing. But I've gone a couple months. I've gone up to, it was between 6 and 8 months without actually seeing him in person, between basic training and then him transferring to Monterey. Eventually, we did get Skyping privileges, but that was really towards the end. I think out of that period of time, maybe 3.5, 4 months tops of Skyping privileges. So, you have a lot of time on your hands to get to know yourself. Um, and that was my second point: living with limited communication with your spouse. So you have to really learn how to express yourself um, efficiently with your spouse, and try not to talk about anything that's really controversial. I know it's really hard um, if you have sour feelings towards each other because of something and you want them to be resolved right away, like you would in any relationship. You don't like to live with grudges, even if they are for a day or 2 days or a week. That's why it's important to always be very clear about what you have to say. Be positive. You know, positive reinforcement is always a good way to move through things, even if it's regarding something that you're unhappy about. Um, and always let your spouse know that you love them and that you care about them, regardless of whatever the problem may be at the time. Because really, I mean, they don't have to have warning. Like, they can deploy tomorrow. Doesn't matter. Um, that brings me into the next point, which would be, well, no, it doesn't. I, anyways, my next topic would be meeting people, um, meeting military spouses, and as well as becoming familiar with the locals wherever you go. In Monterey, I didn't do that at all, and I really sheltered myself because I was so pregnant at the time. Gosh, like I was 8 months pregnant when I moved there, and I stayed there until I gave birth, and then we moved a few weeks after I gave birth. So I really kept to myself for the most part, at least from the locals. But fortunately, I made my first friend who was also a spouse, and I became friends with her whole family, with her year-old daughter at the time, and her husband, who was also in Fort. Oh geez, this is embarrassing. Limited memory recall. DLI, yeah, we were at DLI together. Different classes, different languages, but anyway, she became my first friend, and without her, I don't think I would have made it. So, um, you know, uh, reaching out is important. Making friends is very important, and military spouses are the best. You'll hear a lot of gossip and a lot of rumors, lore about how horrible other spouses can be, how judgmental they can be depending on rank and like your clothing. I'm a very lazy, casual dresser, and for me, that's been a little. I've been self-conscious about it because I don't have the time or the willpower to really invest in appearances. But went from being a worry to being kind of a commonplace thing amongst other spouses. Not to say that we're poor, like we're poorly kept people. It's just that we're at home with our kids, and our husbands are off at work all day, every day, and we're in new environments, and we have to rebuild our home from scratch pretty much every time we move. So we have priorities. I've met a couple spouses though who are really, really, they've got their act together, a lot of structure. Um, anyways, I'm rambling. I just can't stress how important it is to really get in touch with your community, um, even if you don't think you're going to be there long. Meet new people. When when my husband and I first moved here from Monterey, I actually made a friend right out of the gate with a lady who worked at the hotel we stayed at, and she wasn't military related at all. She was a local lady, and she was the one who actually helped me set up my apartment. She before the movers brought all of our stuff here, she helped me with furniture. She lent me pack and play. She lent me an air mattress. She lent me cooking utensils. I made another friend who was a cab driver, and we sort of bartered a little bit. So my husband and I ended up getting free cab rides from our bartering system. And let's see, since then I haven't really touched. I've sort of dropped ties with my local friends around here a little bit. We still text, but the I'm just lazy with it, I guess, which is bad. But also made, in addition to them, I've made a couple friends within the military community, other spouses, of course, um, who are so wonderful. They're both amazing ladies. And one of the ladies is helping me get involved with the FRG, the Family Readiness Group, which I have a lot of preparation to do for this because I don't really know much. I'm like very stubborn when it comes to learning about the military ins and outs, but hopefully this will help me. And because of the friends I've made, I've it's like having a shortcut to a plethora of knowledge that I would have otherwise suffered for. I um, should probably go into detail, but I'm not really going to go into detail right now. I just, more than anything, want to express gratitude. Maybe another time. And there was another thing on my list after that, in regards to the FRG and to the classes that are offered to all of the military families. If you're near a base, then chances are your resources are pretty incredible. And the only catch is you really have to put yourself out there to have access to those resources. You have to spend a few hours on the internet, do your research, figure out what's available to you, make friends, um, and about the whole ranking system. As far as there's a lot of taboo between ranks interacting, like higher ranking soldiers mingling with lower ranking soldiers, because a part of their job description is that like depending on the soldier's position, they can't interact with each other. They can't mingle out of work because of security issues. But that doesn't mean the spouses can't interact. In fact, one of my friends that I mentioned earlier, her husband has been in the military for a while, and he's a very high ranking soldier, and his husband or her husband and my husband wouldn't be allowed to, let's say, have dinner together. He wouldn't be allowed at his house, and her husband wouldn't be allowed at my house. But that doesn't mean that I can't be involved with her, and we can't do family activities together, which we have been doing. She's become very close to me, and I really value that relationship. And there's no judgment there. Just because our husbands are ranked differently, she's still very polite to me. There's nothing scary about it. No harm done between us. It's awesome. So, anyways, moving forward, get into classes. You can learn a lot from the classes they have to offer. I took a budgeting class, and I took a new spouse orientation class, and I had a meeting with the chaplain. These classes were mandatory for me because currently I'm trying to move my soldier into our apartment and out of the barracks, and we have a packet that we have to fill out, and requires a lot of counseling and classes, and I took those for us. But that's not all that we have. Like, those aren't limited resources. There's still other things that I have access to. It's so bad, but I don't actually have the paperwork in front of me to give out the official names. But there are classes for self-defense training that actually are quite expensive outside in the civilian sector. So those are good for us. What else? There are classes that help you understand the ins and outs of the military, how how rank works, acronyms and different terms and what our families are entitled to, how the financial system works, which is really important and something that I really need personally to delve into because otherwise you're losing. You're losing out on a lot of different resources. So, and there's more than that out there. There's a ton of stuff. So there's something else. I wanted to talk about parenting as well and how important it is to not get stuck feeling sorry for yourself and feeling like a single parent, which can be really difficult sometimes for us mothers or fathers who stay at home all day with our babies and you know eat dinner by ourselves with our children and go to sleep at night by ourselves with our children with an empty bed. It's part of the lifestyle, but that doesn't make us single parents. A single parent, in my point of view, is someone who raises their child absolutely alone and financially alone, mentally and emotionally alone, and has no safety net really. That's not where I am, as a spouse, as a mother. My husband is as involved as he can be with our child, and when Monday through Friday he's not around, but when the weekend rolls around and he's home, he takes that time to be a family man. He helps me. He helps me just with his presence, even because he lightens the mood. He brings the whole family together. Um, he knows how to cook, so he'll make a family dinner once in a while, and he can help me around the house. He helps me with our son. He does everything that a father would do and does do when he has the time to do it. And other times it's just it's my responsibility. It's the role that I picked up, and just because it's tough doesn't mean that it's hopeless or that I should be depressed or unhappy. I'm not. Um, I find a lot of satisfaction in what I do. I was gonna say something else in addition to that, but I don't know. Okay, well, I guess this is a good stopping point. 19 minutes almost. And I did speak pretty quickly. So, I guess tomorrow I will talk to me, to whatever this is, later. Okay, bye.